I never know how to start a video. Have you ever thought about what makes you fond of another person? What makes you really like somebody? There are a lot of conversations that come and go with random strangers. Some people we meet, greet, and then we retreat, and some people we're actually able to establish a really deep connection with pretty much right off the bat. How does that happen? I understand that similar interests between people and commonalities can create friendships, but sometimes we just can't seem to figure out how to find those people or really establish that deeper connection that we're looking for. The main focus in this message is to be interested, not interesting. Being interested in other people versus being interesting to other people. We all want to be liked, right? So we'd naturally think that we've got to be interesting. We've got to have all these awesome things to say. We got to get people to like us. Well, yes, I'd hope that you'd have awesome things to say, but I'd also hope that you'd hope that I'd have awesome things to say and that you'd ask me so that I can feel like you care about the awesome things that I have to say. Because otherwise it just makes me think that you're the only one that thinks you have awesome things to say. When you approach somebody at a bar, or a coffee shop, or your friend's party, or the gym, wherever, you most likely approach that person intending to figure out two things. One, if that person is actually interesting enough to keep talking to and actually getting to know. And two, how to make this person interested in you. Usually the more people are interested in getting to know someone, let's say they're really attracted to that person, they'll make the mistake of skipping figuring out number one and just go straight to number two. AKA, how can you make this person interested in you? Because of the fact that you've already decided that you are interested in this person. Maybe based on aesthetics, social status, or maybe you just desperately want to make new friends. What does this person do then to try to make this other person interested in them as quickly as possible? Well, they start talking and telling the other person about themselves, right? Sometimes this works, and sometimes it doesn't. And I'd actually say that most of the time it doesn't. And just hear me out, this is why. Unless we're coming from the same position as the person approaching us, you know, we've seen that person, we've already made the pre-decision of, hey, I'd like to get to know this person because A, B, or C. We really don't care to learn about somebody else's life that much like that, you know? And even if we are interested in getting to know this person, we still want to have this sense of that that person really wants to get to know you also. And that has to be done the right way. Creating a good connection with somebody doesn't just happen by one person spewing all of their life's achievements on the other person. Or struggles. Sometimes people try to take the pity party approach and get other people to just feel for their terrible lives. Or they're just complainers and they're trying to find somebody else to complain with. And sometimes this actually does work. Two complainers that meet can actually form some sort of bond there. To me, that does not really sound like the type of friendship I want to be involved in. But the bottom line here is, we really don't care to tank. But the bottom line is here that, but the bottom line here is, but the bottom line is here, but the bottom line is that we are really not that interested in hanging out with people that are constantly talking about themselves. Unless you are on stage or on TV and people are literally paying to come hear you talk, they're not asking for a show. Now you might be listening to this and be thinking, duh, Anja, of course it's ridiculous to always be talking about yourself. Nobody wants to hear that. But hey, this goes even for the friendships and relationships you have right now. Have you ever actually evaluated how much of a talker versus a listener you are in the relationships you have with other people? Have you? I think a good balance of both is probably ideal. But there's a quote by Dale Carnegie that goes, "You can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in other people than you can in 2 years of trying to get people to be interested in you." I remember my mom told me that quote many years ago and it's always stuck with me. I'm gonna tell a quick story that relates to all of this that I find pretty funny that I'll end this video with. I was laying out at Forsyth Park in Savannah one day. It's just a big open park with fountains and grass and trees and it's beautiful. And I was laying out there studying one day. As I was laying there, a big group of traveling hippies came and crashed down pretty close by to me. And I'm not kidding, they were really traveling hippies. One was dressed up in a big blue bear costume. They were also drunk. And, my first thought was, well, great. Either I'm going to have to move or there goes my studying. While I was contemplating and before I'd made a decision, the one girl in the group comes stumbling over to me and sits down. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have no choice but to sit here. But, she had sat down and she asked my name and I told her, and then she asked me if I go to school around here. And I was like, yeah, I go to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And she took that information and just went on a 25-minute rampage about how cool art is and how she has a little business with her mom, making mosaics out of broken glass that actually sells for a really high price. She showed me her Instagram with her mosaics, and she talked about where they were traveling from, where they were going, She talked about how she was probably about to lose her other job, which was, I think, a bartending job, because she was traveling and not giving a shit about her boss telling her that she needed to be back at work like tomorrow. And anyways, on and on. Now the best part about all of this was when she actually got up and left and went back to her group. When she got back to her group, I immediately heard her start to yell drunkenly about how awesome I was. Dude, that girl was so cool and awesome. She goes to art school and does art and shit, just like me. She was so nice, dude. All this girl knew about me was my name, which she had probably forgotten, and that I went to art school. I don't even think she asked my major. The only 5% of the conversation that actually consisted of me talking was me asking questions, and the rest was her talking. But you know what? I chose to ask those questions, and I chose to let her sit down and talk to me instead of just telling her I needed to study and to leave, because I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity for me to learn about somebody else's lifestyle that is completely different than mine. And it was actually really freaking cool. And by just doing that, by just asking these questions, made her get this amazing impression of me and want to be my friend. She came over 5 more times trying to talk to me, and then I was like, okay, I gotta study. But it was still really cool to be exposed and learn about a totally different kind of person than myself. So moral of the story and this message today is be interested in other people. Ask questions. And don't fake being interested and just ask a bunch of questions that you don't care to know the answer to. Because listen, there is always something you can learn from literally anyone you talk to. No matter who they are, no matter how old they are, no matter what stage of life they're in. Nobody has your life. Therefore, there is always something to learn from somebody else. And a lot of the time what you learn is unexpected, and later you find yourself being like, dang, I'm really glad I talked to that person. It's funny, yesterday morning I was literally reading a book that said, if you talk more than you listen, you only deprive yourself of many opportunities to accumulate useful knowledge. Hopefully you've learned something from this. I have one more message coming up on how to connect with people, part 3, so stay tuned and enjoy the rest of your fabulous Monday. Thank you. Have you ever actually evaluated how much of a talker you are in the relationships you have? Have you ever actually evaluated how much of a talker you are versus a relation? Have you really? You can make more friends in 2 months than you can in 2 years.